Cup controversy. Why isn't Golden Knights team president Kerry Bubbles' name among the 52 that are etched on the Stanley Cup? We'll talk about that on today's edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Spicy.
Hi, everyone.
Spicy.
You like that dramatic voice?
You're spicy.
You haven't heard anything yet. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas, and thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Make sure to subscribe to the Locked On YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights, of course, and find us on Twitter at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G, and at Locked On VGK. So over the weekend, I took a look at all of those names that are etched on the Stanley Cup for the Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights. And I was like, someone's missing here. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And a shout out to Jonathan Haas, one of our everydayers. And he sent me a message and he brought it to my attention that missing from the Stanley Cup, noticeably missing, is the team president, Kerry Bubbles. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Bubbles because he is so active in the community. To me, he is the face of the franchise. He's been a day oneer, a pre-day oneer, November the 1st of 2016, the first president and the first CEO of the Vegas Golden Knights. What is the excuse? Why is his name not on there? There is no stinking excuse. They can't have an excuse. They can't make up anything here. Nothing will appease me at this point. So Jonathan Haas, back to Haas, okay? So he did us a nice service here, Chris. He looked up the past 4 Stanley Cups, and each of those Stanley Cup champions had the team president, their name on the Stanley Cup. So Josh Kroenke, son of Stan, not son of Sam, son of Stan Kroenke, of course, his son, the team president in Denver with the Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche, his name is on the cup. You go to Tampa, you've got Steve Griggs, his name on the previous 2 cups. And then you've got Doug Armstrong, president of the St. Louis Blues, and his name is etched on the Stanley Cup. So no offense at all, okay? Some of the names that should not be on there ahead of Kerry Bubbles, well, here we go. Bill Foley's son, number 1, Robert. He is under Bubbles on the org chart. I was going to say the depth chart.
Org chart. Oh, geez. Now you're bringing back to the corporate stuff. Dang it.
Yeah. On the org chart or depth chart or whatever you have. No disrespect at all to some of these people. I don't know them personally. Kathy Bodinger, the director of hockey operations, an integral part of the team, sets up the travel and everything. That's great. But why is her name listed ahead of the team president, Kerry Bubbles? And then I think one of the biggest insults for me, Braden Pahal. Okay, great. His career's on the rise. Was this part of his renegotiations here when they gave him the offer sheet? I played in 1 game, right, in the playoffs, Chris, against Winnipeg. And I thought that you needed 41 games played to qualify or a special waiver or whatever. He played in 10 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. Why in the world? Okay, I'm done talking for the moment. Why in the world isn't Kerry Bubbles' name on the Stanley Cup?
So the first thing that I hit you up on, Tony, I was trying to slow you down when we first started texting about it. My concern was maybe a lot of people on the business operations side of former Stanley Cup winners don't necessarily get on the cup. Not a knock on them, that's just kind of maybe how it is. But the second I saw Robert Foley's name on there, the second I just heard all the names that you mentioned, going back to my Blackhawks roots, John McDonough, a very similar role, as far as what Bubolz does. So it's hard to necessarily understand. And what I will say, you see Kerry out there, like he is not the type that sits on his perch somewhere inside T-Mobile and never comes out of his office from City National. He is out there. I have met him 2 or 3 different occasions, very brief, but each of the times I've seen him, I compliment him on the fact that I see him all the way on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Park Avenue in front of Shake Shack, just with his gold handbook, taking notes about what he's seeing. He is standing right inside T-Mobile as the fans are coming in, taking notes. He is talking to people. He is listening to what they have to say. He is, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know him, like you said, and I haven't interacted with him beyond this, but when you see a leader doing stuff like that, it shows they care about what they do. They are out there, with the frontline employees, if you will, talking to them, meeting them, listening to them. Something that I didn't do a good enough job when I was higher up in the poker rooms that I ran. But, when I saw Kerry do it when I was still working in the poker rooms, it reminded me of something that I could do better as a leader in the casinos that I worked at. So, as far as why is his name not on the cup when you mention those other names, and Robert Foley, Pahal, he played in a playoff game. I don't know if that's like an automatic juice job. I don't know how that works. I'm not getting involved on that. The one thing I will possibly say is, about Kerry is that just maybe, and again, this is hypothetical, shooting at the hip, nothing beyond a possible thought. Do you think maybe he gave up his spot so someone else could get on the cup?
Okay, and that could be a remote possibility, but
remote. I think that's remote. I'm with you. That's fair.
Yeah, it could be a possibility. However,
that's the only thing I can come up with that's reasonable.
I've heard Bubbles speak in front of conventions and meetings and all of these.
He opened up the AHL, the hockey, the bar in Henderson we went to the one night.
Yeah, no, he's very visible. And he's he's a great ambassador for the Vegas Golden Knights. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, we are not here saying anything negative on Kerry's behalf. Like, let's be clear about this. We are totally
and I'm not
positive
dissing those other people. Hey,
right.
You know what? If you could schmooze the boss and get your name on there, so be it. Good for you. Great. If you go to lunch with Bill Foley, and eat those BLTs, then congratulations. Okay?
I was going to say the BLT comment. You beat me to it.
Is that right? Darn. I'm sorry to do that. So at J11NO. Also commented that Jay Millette, is it Millette or Milletti, has been the head athletic trainer from day one, and his name is not listed, and the assistant trainers are. Make sense of that. I don't think
they won the drawing in the back.
Yeah, it's prestigious and again, no dissing of any of these people who got their names on the Stanley Cup. Congratulations. However, Kerry Bubbles' name belongs there. It is absolutely, and when they're listed on the cup, their name is listed right after the executive or the owner, right after all the executives, somewhere in there, the very, very top of the Stanley Cup. Something's amiss. Something is absolutely amiss here. Yeah, I'm spicy, but something is wrong. Something's wrong, man.
So let's go a step farther into.
But would you yield? Done. Would you yield to some scrub like me? And say, okay, no, just put Tony's name on the cup. Get lost. You would not. I wouldn't with you. Why would you do that? Come on.
I don't know how that meeting went down, and I don't know how that discussion went down. I'm not going to pretend like I do understand, but going down the path of maybe there's trouble in paradise here. Let's acknowledge reality for a second, folks. This is odd with Kerry. This is odd. Okay. We've gone down that. Tony's is redder than that fuchsia shirt that he's wearing right now. So we got to give Tony a second to relax. But in my article, little plug here for Vegas Hockey Now, talking about some coaching changes, Director of Hockey Operations, Misha Donskov.
Yeah, something's going on.
He wished his future endeavors in a tweet on a Sunday night at 8:44 p.m.
Stupid. Yeah, there's something not right. What's going on with the organization?
What's up, and if everything is, and listen,
it's drama like it is every offseason, like it is almost every day with the Vegas Golden Knights. There's drama.
That's a very fair statement. I know I know Reed is going to get mad at you for that comment, but it's a fair comment.
I'm not objective at all, and that's fair. Eric Tosi, the CMO, someone was mentioning his name that he should have been on the cup, and I'm not sure if other CMOs are, and that's great. And these people have been day oneers. They've been with the organization since the beginning. And yes, you don't have enough space. And someone said, oh, they're going to add Bubbles' name later. No, folks, this is etched in perpetuity.
Who's are they going to cross off?
Well,
this guy here is dead. Cross him off then. I mean, what are we doing here?
What do you do? How do you do that? But again, and we know the media is very, very soft in this market. I'm part of the media. Okay. I'm sort of dissing myself. Okay. But the media is very soft in this market. And no one's going to ask. This isn't going to amount to nothing. And no one's going to retweet our tweets. And no one's going to, they're not going to credit our show for turning this into a controversy. Of course, we like the ratings and the downloads and the likes and all that because we like the clout. But no one's going to follow up on this, are they? No one's going to follow up.
I mean, if there's something over the summer, I would politely ask the question.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'd be curious to know why. And honestly, I think if you get the explanation from Kerry, it would be
he's going to be political. He's going to be very nice. He's very, very professional. He's more buttoned up than me.
Let's hear Foley's perspective. I mean, Foley
won't
honest.
answer. He won't answer this question. Come on. He's just going to give
I'm
you
saying
that little.
If the question got through, he would give an honest answer.
Okay, I hope it does get through because I know that a lot of folks listen to the show and I know that the word will get out there. And I know that Kerry Bubbles reads a lot of our tweets because he's liked some things before in the past. And so I hope that someone will answer our question. Why isn't Kerry Bubbles' name the team president of the Vegas Golden Knights on the Stanley Cup?
He should be. He should be. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Okay, coming up next, I know that Chris feels that Phil Kessel should be on the squad, a part of the VGK squad.
Let's go.
He made a case for this on Vegas Hockey Now. I don't agree. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take your first swing at betting Major League Baseball on FanDuel and get 10 times, up to 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets.
That's
up to
$100.
$200.
10 times and 10 times?
Yeah. The great multiplier. Did you see my race ticket that I posted? I left it, of course, in the car in 110.
That was I didn't know that was your tweet. I saw that tweet and I laughed at that schmuck. I guess that was you.
Yeah, what a schmuck. Yeah, that was me. That's why you go through the app. And that's why you go through FanDuel for sports bets.
Tony, that was dynamite.
You could land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose on your first bet. It's $200 that you could spend on everything and anything. Money line, totals, of course. Who's going to hit the first home run? And it's all on the app. That's very safe. It's very secure, and it does not melt in the sun. Super easy to use, and you get paid instantly. Sign up today. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We are back on Locked On Golden Knights. Less spicy, I think I will be in this segment, although I still have that spice going. For Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen. Don't forget, each and every Friday we have WTF, What the Friday. And Chris, this is sort of a wind down week because next week we begin going just 3 days a week. So sort of a wind down, but of course, if there are special episodes, we will do those as warranted as well. So I know that I was reading your article, and well done. Why should, in your estimation, VGK re-sign Phil Kessel? What's your argument for signing him?
I mean, we can talk about the stats, just 36 points. As far as a third-line winger goes, you could do worse. I think we can start there. 36 points represents Kessel's worst regular season since he was drafted to the NHL. I know he's getting up there. He'll be 36 or something like that coming up on next season. He's not going to score 60, 70 points a season. Maybe 50 points is the ceiling depending on his circumstance, but his stats are fair. I think he can have an increase simply with the familiarity of the system, the players, the city, T-Mobile Arena, just basically not having to go and press the reset button with another franchise. His reliability factor, we can spend 30 seconds on this. He's got the longest streak ever in the history of the National Hockey League for consecutive games played, a streak that may never, ever, ever be even close to beaten. VGK's had injury issues. It's nice to have someone you know is going to be in the lineup every single night. Hopefully something goofy doesn't happen, but those two things are good, the stats and the reliability, but it's the unmeasurable of the locker room. And what really got this thought in my head was listening to Jack Eichel impersonate him. If you want to, Tony, you can jump in at any point and do it.
No more
but
impersonation.
The fact that, and I know the impersonation, it's a goofy clowning type of thing here, but you heard Jonathan Marchessault's comments about him, which he did also give an impersonation. There you go. So yeah, you just hear what two of the leaders on the team, what their impression was, what they learned from Kessel. And there's so many players that are in like the mid-20s that are still just starting to blossom as far as NHL players. You got younger players like Dorofeev, Korczak, Pahal, and all these other up-and-coming AHLers who just simply brushing elbows with Phil Kessel can help their career mightily. I mean, who better to learn from, from someone that is showing up to work every day. They're reliable. They're putting the work in. I know there's all the jokes about his body and stuff like that. But when you see him in person and stand next to him in regular street clothes, I think it's the shoulder pads that make him look a little bit different. And of course, that hideous Team USA photo where, but beyond that, Kessel is reliable. He's built and he can improve. He can definitely improve on last season. But what he brings to the locker room is just something that's priceless. And what's he going to ask for? $1 million?
Sign him. So his last salary.
Sign him. 1.5 was $1.5 million.
Yeah. So
he doesn't need the money.
Could he be an assistant coach, or is he too irresponsible? Too much of a goofball, or
I don't know,
they might not respect him, or
I don't know if he's that type. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he has the leadership. Like, think about during down the stretch, right? The power play was having trouble. It was noted a couple times in a practice. He took the power play unit aside, got him going. And, I think Kessel for a while was even elevated to the top power play unit because he started, contributing in that spot right there. So he has that gear for leadership. I just don't know if he's a sit down and study hockey all type of day and night type of person like Cassidy is, tearing apart film and that sort of thing. Maybe a junior team, maybe a squirt team or something like that to have some fun with. But I don't see him now. Maybe down the road. I don't see him as that going that route this second, though.
I'm curious to know what the relationship between Cassidy and Kessel is, especially after he sat him down for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Cassidy said in his presser at that one time, he said Kessel was not happy about that.
No, I heard the same. I heard a little different version of it, but we'll leave it as not happy about that, and that's fine. I mean, he shouldn't be happy about that. He's a longtime veteran, played a lot of games, done a lot of great things in the AHL, and I think you go a step farther. Going back to when I was talking to Gary Lawless, we're going way back with the day they announced the Phil Kessel signing. Lawless right away goes to what he's going to do for this team in the playoffs. And I think that's what was in mind when Kessel was signed for the Golden Knights, was what he could help the team accomplish come playoffs. Unfortunately, he lasted 4 games, got 2 assists, and that was the last we saw of him, unfortunately for Phil. That doesn't mean the same thing will happen next season. It might happen next season. Like, I think it's important for Kessel to understand, if there was some type of contract offered, that his Iron Man streak, it could be in jeopardy. It could be in jeopardy anywhere he goes. Like, if he goes to San Jose, he'll get 82 games because they're not going to be competitive. They'll put him in there for the tickets and whatever. If he goes down to Florida or something, it's much more competitive. Maybe he'll last 82 games. Maybe he won't.
What about with Rick Tocchet? Rick Tocchet,
he's Seattle GM, right?
No, Tocchet, isn't he with Vancouver? Where's he the head coach? Vancouver?
I don't know. Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver. Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's also fair. He does have a good connection with Tocchet, and
that's one of the reasons why he came here, was so that they could hang out and they're good friends.
Vancouver. No, seriously. No, I'm with you. But going on Vancouver, like, they're in that weird spot right now between rebuild and competitive.
Purgatory.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got half rebuild, half competitive. They've had issues with the coaches in the past. So we'll see how that works out. But I mean, that could be a landing spot because they could be competitive, just competitive enough where Kessel could get his competitive needs out, but still keep his Iron Man streak intact.
Okay. Well, everyone likes his stand-up, but I don't know that they should re-sign him because I don't know what he has left in the tank, to be quite honest with you.
Devil you know, devil you don't know.
And you don't give $1 million to someone who you say is going to help to build the team chemistry, although you do need a glue guy in that locker room. I do agree partially with what you said.
I would have loved that. Just Pierre-Edouard Bellemare going to Seattle, I would have loved to see him come back to Vegas. That would
What
have
a
been so
super
nice.
guy. Class act.
Top to bottom.
Are there any free agents left that would interest VGK? We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. We are back on Locked On Golden Knights, the Monday edition, recorded on a Sunday. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. And thanks for making us your first listen. You could find our podcast wherever your podcasts are available, which is everywhere. And of course, go to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights, and make sure to subscribe there. According to the Daily Faceoff, Chris, 160 players signed new deals since free agency started. Missing currently are the big ticket free agents. They're not getting signed, right? A lot of teams just are strapped, a lot of no cap space, no room to sign a lot of these players.
Alex DeBrincat and Erik Karlsson are a big part of that too. There's so many teams trying to make that work, and those are teams that do have the money, but they're
Tarasenko.
Exactly, same thing. Tarasenko got a new agent. He went with Pat Brisson. Yeah. He went with Brisson to kind of start fresh. And speaking of agents, I just realized that the Golden Knights, they shredded every Walsh player from the team. I believe. Yeah.
Well, is that because Alan Walsh wanted his name on the cup too? Okay, so Patrick Kane is still out there. Matt Dumba is still out there, but there are some lower tier. Yeah. Jonathan Toews is still out there. I don't know what they're going to get signed for, but they're going to have to sign a bargain deal for sure because teams don't have the cap room. But there are some players out there, perhaps, that might interest the VGK. And again, you and I have discussed some of these names. We both like Thomas Nosek, who made $1.75 million last season. I think he could be a good fit with this VGK team. I know that you are definitely touting an experienced goaltender, like a Jaroslav Halak, the netminder who played for the Rangers last year. I think he's played for every team in the East. I don't think he's traveled too far west. St. Louis, I don't know if he spent some time there, but he made $1.5 million last season, and a veteran player. Anyone else, or do you want to talk about those two players? Anyone else that you believe can fit in with this VGK team?
No, I mean, starting with Tomas Nosek, of course, his familiarity, going back to my Kessel comments and stuff like that, ability to do really well as a bottom six center / winger if he needs to be, but he can certainly help. I mean, Vegas loves having these centers that are also comfortable playing on the wing and vice versa. So Nosek certainly fits the build, and he can score. Like, he did so well at the AHL level, and his career has morphed more into that bottom six grinder defensive talent. And obviously without Riley Smith, around anymore, that's a big loss as far as a strong penalty killer goes. And yeah, Halak, same deal. I mean, 38 years old. It would be kind of cool, actually, because I think this would bring Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson together even more. Not that they're not already, but if the Golden Knights were to bring in a veteran, a 38-year-old veteran, just in case, that's going to push Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson just a little bit harder. Kind of that they bought this effing guy in, really, to, no, we're going to, I think that could make things a little bit better. Not that there's an issue. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't know what the goal is. Going down the list, I mean, you got Dennis Malgin out there, 26-year-old, made $750K last season.
What about Noah Gregor? What about Noah? And I say that because
27 points last year.
He's a right winger, okay, and we have Stone, who we don't know if he's going to play 50 games or whatever, right? Did you say the same thing?
I did.
We both said 50 games, and you're going to need someone to get some spot starts there. Made $950K. He's just 24 years of age. And I think he's got a little bit of talent, but again, it would be someone that would be a depth piece for the VGK.
I mean, the last guy we signed, we got from the San Jose Sharks, Aiden Hill, worked out to be pretty well, right? So Noah Gregor, this is me just looking right at Hockey DB and regurgitating what they say about him. Pardon me. 23 points 2 seasons ago, 17 points this previous season. Go ahead, Tony, talk for a second.
No, yeah, and he didn't play. He played about 50 or so games, but he would be in a different role here. He played in 57 games this past season.
He's another Brett Howden.
Okay, and that's not a bad thing,
No.
right? See, I think someone like that could fit, and you don't have to spend a ton of money, and he doesn't have to contribute each and every start every day. He's not going to be like your everyday player, but it's a good opportunity to put. I'm looking for someone to platoon with Mark Stone because we don't know at any given time he could definitely just fall apart, fall to pieces.
Well, and Gregor's 24 years old.
Yeah,
Someone
young
like
guy.
that coming into this locker room, so much to learn from, so much positivity. At least the team culture in the locker room seems to still be really, really good. I wrote a nice article about that a couple days ago. Not sure about the culture outside the locker room right now, though. I might have to come up with a new article
That's
here
a good one. That's
because
a good one.
we spent about a good 15 minutes, pretty spicy, to start the show about that. But it's curious to see if the Golden Knights go for the glue guy, right? They go for the vet, someone that can be okay, right? But what is the ceiling on someone like Noah Gregor, right? He got 15 goals in 21-22 in 63 games, 23 points, a minus 21. I don't care. That's the Sharks. And then 57 games, 17 points, 7 goals, 10 assists. So, I mean, there's something there, right? There's something there. I mean, for $750K, he's not going to, hey, kid, come play for Vegas. We won a cup last year. Here's $750K. Here's the league minimum. Sign here.
Yeah, even if they give him a little bump, that's not going to be bad. I like that. I like Gregor. I think that could be a good fit.
We have depth on the defense side, but having someone else, it can't hurt. It cannot hurt.
No. And a little bit of NHL experience. What about 3 or 4 seasons in the National Hockey League? So
150 games, something like that.
That's pretty good.
That's
fine.
Fine.
That's pretty good. Of course, and if they see something, I'm sure
He
that
made
they will definitely
950K.
sign
Looks
him.
like last year, 950, but still,
Yeah, 950.
give him a mill.
Okay.
Call it done. Give him a mill.
Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in. We thank you all for listening and, of course, watching on the YouTube channel. I got a lot of great I got a lot of great comments for my appearance with the Avalanche crew, Locked On Colorado Avalanche. That was really fun. For my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everyone, especially our everydayers, and put Kerry Bobolt's name on. They can't change things now, but Kerry Bobolts deserve to be on the Stanley Cup. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.